Okay folks, welcome back to The Long Dark, and this is video number 12 in our Whiteout challenge series, but there is something slightly different going on. Yes, as you've probably noticed, what I'm saying is not matching up with the video, the webcam video. When I recorded this video, fortunately the audio didn't record, so we are doing post-commentary for videos number 12 and indeed number 13. Unlucky 13, we didn't get the audio on that one either. So for the next two videos, you've got me in post-commentary, desperately trying to remember what it was I was talking about when we were playing through the game. So this can be very interesting. So, basically, we're picking up where we left off. We're in the mines, coming back from Desolation Point, heading towards Coastal Highway again, through the transition area, just going through our loot and just seeing what we have, what we brought back. Obviously it has been a couple of weeks, I'm going to apologise, it's been a couple of weeks, things have been crazy busy, and I've just not been able to get on, and I've not been able to play the game, but we're back here now, and we're just going through a few of the changes, because there has been an update. Since I last played the game, there's been an update. The sleep system is what we're looking at here. That's been changed very slightly. You now sleep past time with slightly separate menus. You can pass time anywhere, I believe. You don't need to have a bed or a bedroll. You can now pass time absolutely anywhere. But obviously you now sleep slightly differently because they've amended the menu. So that's one of the kind of little tweaks. The other big tweak that you can definitely see here is that there's a hand visible in the shot. They've actually brought some first-person viewpoints in, which is actually kind of cool. I quite like this. It works really well. They haven't quite got it there yet. It's still kind of in early. I don't want to say early beta because that's not necessarily quite right, but it's kind of early development of this first-person perspective. Well, you've got the hand. The hand's visible when you're holding something. I think that was me just checking that we definitely were in Desolation Point because it had been a couple of weeks since I played it. I couldn't quite remember. When you're holding something, you can see as we go through there. This is kind of cool. The fact you actually now strike matches properly as well is kind of cool. You're shielding it with your hand. That's kind of cool. This is in a kind of early development stage. So that it doesn't reflect the clothes that you're wearing. I'm actually wearing mittens here, but it doesn't reflect that. But that's something they're working on, so this is the first implementation of it, so it's kind of cool. It's nice to see a little bit of first-person perspective in the game. And I dare say that'll be developed over time. So that's one of the other kind of updates. I think there's been a beautification pass as well. And they've also brought in a new difficulty setting, which is called... I can't remember, is it Liberator? Or something along those kind of lines. I'll flash it up on the screen because I honestly can't remember exactly what it's called. I knew when I did the original video recording with the original commentary, but I can't remember now. But it's quite a difficult, real super hardcore gameplay setting where you can basically the very best clothes don't spawn. Tools other than the hacksaw don't spawn. You have to make them yourself with the furnace. And it's much harder to do it. Walls are rarer, but they're more deadly. Although I believe when Akirais spawned and started to play at that difficulty setting when I was watching his channel, he ended it up with 2 walls right on top of his spawn point and a bear. So he didn't last very long. It was quite funny. It was the worst possible spawner you could ever have. He ended it up with 2 walls and a bear. But anyway. So that's some of the updates. There's been. I think there's also been a few changes to the overall difficulty settings of the game, where it's because in the main sandbox game, which obviously we've not been playing here, this is a challenge game. In main sandbox mode, it could get quite easy after a while, where you gathered all the best equipment and you made all the best clothes and everything. It got a bit easy, so they've kind of tweaked the difficulty setting to make the game harder as you go along. So as you gain more and more equipment, the difficulty level kind of stays the same, because the game world itself is harder, but you're better equipped, if that makes sense. So the difficulty, overall difficulty level kind of stays the same the whole way through instead of getting easier, is what they've kind of done. So that's kind of cool. I quite like that. You can see also the animation for flares is slightly different now, the way you're holding it. Probably more like you probably hold a real flare, to be honest. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so we've come out of the mine connector and we're just heading into the transition area heading back towards Coastal Highway. Now, the bad news about this is that it didn't just not record the commentary, it also didn't record the game audio. So this is completely silent. So I do apologise that we are total silence here. We've got absolutely nothing. Which means you're not going to be able to hear when wolves are approaching. But I will tell you, I have at this point heard the wolf noise and I'm investigating it. And there indeed is the wolf, and he has unfortunately clocked me. And he is coming up towards me. And I do say he, I don't know. I shouldn't really say that. It could be a her, we don't know. I don't know how you tell them apart from a distance, I suppose. Well, wolves in the wild, they live in packs, don't they? They don't tend to attack people. But there is a little disclaimer about that when you load the game. That the world that we're in the Long Dark is very different, and animal behaviour's been modified slightly. So, oh no, he doesn't clock me. I run after him, and I scare him off with a flare, so that's all good. That's it, yep. So we've got rid of him with the flare, and we're going to go around and pick the road back up. And then we're going to make our way back towards Coastal Highway. Now, in this video, we are kind of close. So at this point, we are kind of close. We've been off to Desolation Point in the previous video, video 11, to try and pick up the last sort of bits of lantern fuel and things like that that we need, because we were short of lantern fuel and we were short of food. So I think I also was a bit short of sticks because I'd ended up using a few of them. So I just picked a few more up as I head back. And I think the plan I had, which is what I do later in this video, is to go and do some hunting, and that's how I was aiming to try and get the food sorted. So that was certainly what we were planning to do at the end of video 11. We were going to head back and do some hunting, and that's what we're ultimately going to end up doing in this video. So we're just moving down. I think the wolf was just behind us and running away. This is really difficult doing post-commentary, because I can't remember what happened. I've slept since I filmed this. This one would have been out last week, by the way, were it not for this audio problem. I had some time last Saturday. I was building some craft display stands for my girlfriend. We were doing a fair on Sunday, where we were selling some of the items that we've both made actually. But they're mainly hers, and I needed a display stand for some of them, so I was building that last Saturday. And whilst I was waiting for glue to dry and paint to dry, I had the chance to do two videos on the Long Dark, and they would have been out last Tuesday if it weren't for the fact that the audio didn't record. And I am going to hold my hands up. The mistake was mine. I've been doing some experiments with using Open Broadcaster, which is what I used to record with. To record the PC screen, so that I could do some instructional videos for work, actually, just to see if I could make it, if I could actually make it work properly to record the screen, so I can do some as part of my my job. But what I didn't realise was, because the audio was all turned off when I was doing those videos, because I didn't need it. What I didn't realise when I kicked back over the sort of default template settings from the window capture back to the game capture one, that the audio would stay muted. I didn't realise that, so I didn't check it, and so it was all muted. So yeah, a bit of a disaster there. Okay, so we're back on Coastal Highway then, and the weather's actually looking pretty good. It's looking pretty clear. Always being a bit cautious through this section, because there is a bear that tends to lurk around this area. In fact, if my memory serves me, we encountered that bear when we were going the other way towards Desolation Point, so just wanting to be a little bit on the careful side that we don't encounter the bear. But the weather's looking pretty cool, pretty clear. Nice travelling weather. It might be a little bit on the cold side though, so it might literally be a bit cool. I'll tell you what, let's just tip my memory actually, looking across the ocean there, the sea. There's another new element that's been introduced, is beachcombing. So that's a new element that's been introduced. It's in beta stage. I think Hinterland have actually got it listed as being in beta. So some sections of the coastline now, the water is actually moving, and will occasionally wash up items near the shoreline. I don't know exactly where the shoreline is. I don't know exactly where any of these areas is. Obviously, it's going to be on Coastal Highway and Desolation Point because they're the only areas with any ocean. And I doubt it's going to happen on the lakes and the rivers. But it's certainly an interesting idea. I believe they've modified some of it, how the weak ice works. So you have to be a bit careful for weak ice because if you go too close to the edges or too close to the wrong areas, you're going to find weak ice. But it certainly seems interesting, so hopefully we can explore that. I mean, I am hoping that we're getting quite close to the end of this series now, because we're still waiting to find out. I haven't done any research into this. Well, obviously I'm lying because I've done both of the videos here, but we haven't done any research on this. But I think that the way it works is when we've ticked all the boxes in the journal, when we've collected all those items, that ends the challenge. So we don't have to survive all 30 days. We only have to tick all of the boxes. So once we've ticked the boxes, we've gathered everything it needs us to gather, that's it. We have completed the challenge. So I think very soon we'll be probably starting another sandbox game. There is another new challenge. There's Hunted Part 2 has come out with this update as well. And Hunted Part 2 is, well, it's not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be you're being hunted by something else, like a pack of wolves or something, but it turns out what you actually are. Temperature -9, pretty good. Pretty good travelling conditions, actually. Quite nice, as long as the bears and the wolves don't jump us, but this section is usually relatively safe. They can't really sneak up on you around here, so this bit's not too bad. It's the bit slightly further behind us and ahead of us as we get to the town site that you have to be careful of. But yeah, there's the Hunted Part 2 is not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be you're being hunted by a pack of wolves or something like that. It's similar to Hunted 1, where you're being hunted by the bear, but being hunted by something else. This time we're actually, you are hunting the bear. So the hunter becomes the hunted. So that's Hunted Part 2. So having made your way to Trapper's Homestead, I don't know what I'm holding my hand up and admitting to there. I have no idea. I really don't know. I can't remember what I was rabbling on about. Well, you know me. I rabble on, don't I? So I have no idea what I was talking about there. In fact, I have no idea what I was talking about before I interrupted myself. Hang on. Oh yeah, so Hunted Part 1 was the bears hunting you. I'm at risk of hypothermia now, but we're not too far from the town site, so we should be okay. As long as we don't get jumped by a wolf as we head for the door. And that might happen, I can't remember. Oh yeah, sprinting for the door now. That would perhaps suggest... There's a wolf there, there's a wolf right there. I never saw that. I did not see that first time round. I did not see that wolf first playthrough. There was a wolf on the left-hand side as we went towards the town site. I don't know if you saw that. I never saw that first time round. I honestly didn't. Whew. That was a bit close. I really didn't see that when I was actually playing the game. It's amazing what you spot, actually. It's amazing what you spot when you're playing it back. As you're watching it, it's quite incredible. But yeah, that's twice I've interrupted myself. Now, Hunted Part 1, the bear's hunting you. The premise of Hunted Part 2 is that you're now at the homestead. You've got the bear killer rifle, and you're now heading back towards. You're hunting the bear, basically. So you're heading. I think the bear's trying to get back to its den. I don't know where its den is. There is a bear den here on Coastal Highway, so that would perhaps suggest that that's one possible location that it's heading to. But I don't really know, so I'm going to have to... I need to have a play of Hunted Part 1. I tried to do an off-camera playthrough of Hunted Part 1, but I made a complete mess of it, and I died very, very, very quickly, so I never bothered uploading it. In fact, I don't think I was even recording it. I think I was just testing it, but I didn't get very far. So I'm going to have another crack at Hunted Part 1 and then Hunted Part 2. But I think the next thing I'm going to do, the next Long Dark series I'm going to do is just another plain sandbox game. We're going to start at the beginning. We're going to try out some of these new features, some of the things like the feats and the skills and the fact that's all changed. That's something we haven't really been able to explore too much in this series. Okay, so as you can see now, we've got everything ticked bar food. So with we are, what, 2.5 days short of food? Yeah, something like that. 2.5 days short of food. But obviously we're going to have to eat some of it. And I also, something that I think I'm probably going on about now, is that I don't know what counts as a day's worth of food. So I wasn't quite sure what I had to do. So I think we're going to go off and do this bit of hunting now. We're going to go and we're going to hunt a deer. We'll make use of the rifle that we have, because we've got more than enough ammunition. So we're going to make use of that rifle and we're going to go off and hunt a deer. I'm trying to remember if I head straight off at this point or if I hang fire for a minute and sleep in here for a while and stuff. I might do that actually. I might actually even go ahead and do a fire, I can't remember. I think I might go ahead and do a fire at this point. I'm just offloading. I think what I'm doing here is just offloading some stuff that I don't really need to be carrying around with me. Just to tidy things up and lighten the load. And I'm liking the placement system that I can put stuff where I want it. Make things neat and tidy. So I think what we're going to do in a minute is head out and do some hunting. I'm just trying to sort of think ahead a little bit. Sorting through my... How many pairs of socks are in that container? I think I remember what I was doing. I was doing some housekeeping and general repair work. That's it. I was doing some housekeeping and general repair stuff. Repairing my clothes because they got a bit damaged. So, yeah, doing a bit of clothing repair. Getting things back up to a decent level before we head out, knowing that we're going to be out in the cold for a bit whilst we take down and harvest a deer. And here on Coastal Highway, most of the deer, in fact I think all of them, I don't think I've ever seen a deer anywhere else, walk around on the frozen water, so that's where they tend to be, out in the open. Where it does get cold, so that's probably why I'm fixing my clothes, make sure they're all in good condition. And also just in case I get jumped by a wolf, I don't want to end up with anything being ruined, because I have to be honest, I haven't really been collecting that many clothes as I've been going around. I've been so focused on collecting the items on the checklist, I've pretty much ignored everything else. So, what I'm doing is fixing everything. And counting to 3, apparently. I don't know what that was in either. It is quite weird, actually, when you watch these videos back and you have to do post-commentary. Trying to remember what you were doing. Trying to remember what you were doing. And why you were doing it. Okay, well I've done some clothing repair, so I'm getting rid of all the stuff associated to the clothing repair. Okay, so we'll get rid of all of that. I'm trying not to stay quiet for too long, actually. Well, I'm sort of getting a bit engrossed in watching and trying to figure out what I'm doing, but I am conscious there's no audio on this video whatsoever, aside from what I'm saying now, so I shall try and keep rambling on. Okay, so just having a look around all my stuffs and things. Okay, so we are going to have to eat a bit of the food. That I think is probably why food has ended up being the very last item on the list. It's because obviously it is you have to collect all these items, but you have to survive as well. So you're having to, some of the food that we're collecting, we are actually having to eat as we go. So It means that we don't have as much. And same goes for water, although obviously I did that big cook-off of water in a previous video, so we've ended up with quite a lot. So I had a fair amount more than I actually needed, purely because I knew I was going to have to drink it. Okay, so we're taking some rifle rounds, and we're going to take the rifle. We've got plenty of rifle ammunition to tick the box, and obviously the rifle we'll put back when we have finished with it. So we're going to go and try and take down a deer. Now, obviously, this is going to be a bit more complicated. I'm not the best shot with the rifle in this game, I have to be completely honest. And I'm not the best hunter. I think some people are very, very good at the hunting side of it. I'm just not. So I'm not the best. So I am kind of assuming I'm going to miss. But I'm also going to go with the don't use more than the bullets we're carrying kind of philosophy, because if we do that, we might not end up with enough. And we might have to go and find some more, which is going to prove to be a massive challenge. I think it is the way you have to think about it with this particular challenge is when you collect the rarer items, the stuff that you're not going to be able to get hold of very easily, for goodness sake, don't lose them or take them anywhere or use them without thinking. I mean, I have enough rifle ammunition here to way over the... I think I've got 3 times as much as I needed to satisfy the requirement. But if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing this. I don't know what I would do, but I wouldn't be doing this. Right, so we're just going to sleep, and we'll probably end up doing the sleeping overnight. So you can see the slightly changed sleep menu. Obviously eating and drinking as we go through. Got the slightly changed sleep menu, which you will see again in a moment once I've topped my fluid and hunger bars back up. The slightly modified sleep menu. Here it is. So now we just sleep from there, and you pass time with the playing cards at the top. So it's slightly different to how it was. And as I said before, you can actually pass time absolutely anywhere. You don't need a bed. You just do it from the camp menu. I'm slowly getting into the pattern of doing this. You kind of sleep for a bit, you pass time for a bit longer, and then you sleep again, just to kind of finish it off, so you get your rested bar back to the top. And now apparently while you're passing time, you're playing cards. That's what the sound effect is, although obviously you can't hear that here. You will when we do that on the next series. Okay, so I think we are pretty much ready to go now. I think, do we need to... Yep, I think we're ready to go. Oh, I know what I did. Yes, I remember now. I think I heated up that can of tomato soup before I headed out, so that I had the warmth benefit of that hot soup to stop me from freezing so quickly. However, if my memory also serves me, it took me 3 attempts to get this fire to light. And it's probably because I haven't lit that many fires. Normally you'd end up lighting a fire at least once a day, you know, in a cycle. But obviously because we've been doing this slightly differently, concentrating on gathering all of the stuff we needed and moving around the regions, I haven't actually been lighting that many fires, so I haven't got the skill level up. We'll have a look at skills, feats and all that kind of stuff when we get back into the sandbox, because they're not reflected very well in these challenges, so hopefully, because I don't fully understand them yet, because I haven't played sandbox game. I only tend to have one game going at once, and at the moment it's this one, so when we get back in, it'd be nice to get back in the sandbox actually and have a survival, see if we can finally reach this 100-day target, which keeps eluding us. Usually by something silly or a system crash. The time when I was well on course for it, I ended up losing the game because I I updated the game, sort of major revision update, and ended up... Oh no, it wasn't. It was when I had a new computer. Not realising that at that point the game saves were not in the cloud. They are now, I believe. I think the save games are now stored in the cloud. So if you do move computers, you can pick your save games back up again. But back then they weren't, so I ended up losing it. So I was well on course for a decent result, and I threw it away by upgrading my computer. Okay, so we're just what are we doing? We're boiling water, making more water. That's all cool. Right. Okay, so we're gonna head outside, and we're gonna head out through the back door. And obviously, though, we need to head around. The weather's not looking great. Bit windy, bit snowy, but no obvious nasties around. Apart from that one. And it's got me. Yes, I tried to shoot it and I missed. So I get jumped by a wolf. Fought the wolf off. Bit of first aid. Didn't drop too much condition there. It ran away fairly quickly, so... Just kind of watching where it's going, I think. It's kind of gone over that way. So I think I'm probably going to end up carrying on here. Yes. In spite of that. I only lost 8% condition. And I've healed up very quickly, so... And there's a wolf over there. I don't know if that's the same one or not. It might be the same wolf, might be a different wolf. Got myself in a little bit of a muddle there. Okay, so... We're heading out onto the ice then. We're going to head out across the frozen water on the lookout for a deer. And I think if my memory serves me, what I do is I head towards the ice fishing hut. There's an ice fishing hut over here with a door on it. And obviously that provides slightly better heat protection. So you get a bit warmer inside that one because it's got a door on. So I think I head towards that one. Or do I not? Do I just... Oh, I was running away from a wolf. The wolf was chasing me. Okay. I'd obviously picked up the sound effect for that in-game, which I wasn't aware of here. I've been chased by the wolf, so I was just running randomly to get away from the wolf. And I think what I'm now going to probably end up doing is heading across... Yes, towards the ice fishing hut with the door on. Seem to remember that's what I did. And then I think we ended up finding some deer nearby. Weather's not great, but I was pretty determined to get this done because I was hoping this would tip me over the threshold of having enough food. So I really wanted to get on with it, try and finish it off. And there is a deer. Yes, I can see a deer. In fact, I can see 2 deer. I could make a bad joke there, but I'm not going to. Right, okay, so we're going to head over here. Now, I'm not the best hunter. I should have gone into stealth mode, into sneak, or into whatever you want to call it, but I didn't. I probably should have done. Just in hindsight, but yeah, I'm far too far away. One of the issues I do tend to have is that if I get too close, they run off. But I can never judge exactly where too close is, so I stop. So had a pot shot and I completely missed. So I'll chase after them, knowing that eventually they will stop running and turn back to their normal behaviour. I would say that's a little bit of an animal behaviour flaw at the moment, because in real life that wouldn't happen. They would just keep running and running and running. They wouldn't just suddenly stop, but never mind. Okay, so I've completely missed that one twice. So I'm now going to go for this one, which is a little bit closer. Kaboom. And I've got it. So taking it out. Now, normally what I do at this point is I light a fire next to the carcass. However, I do remember this. I have no tinder. Why do I have no tinder? because I only had 3 pieces with me and I used them all to light the fire barrel back in the gas station, and I completely forgot to restock. It has just dawned on me watching the video back, I could have turned that stick, or one of those sticks, into tinder. I think you can do that. You can harvest a stick into tinder. I completely didn't think to do that at the time because I was worried about the cold. I've got my fingers and everything else crossed that we don't get hypothermia. I haven't completely harvested the deer. I only took 6 of the 8 kilos of meat off it, simply because of the time. I didn't want to stay out there for too long, and now we're making a bolt back for the fishing hut with the door on. And I was kind of, again, I wasn't thinking straight. I was thinking, I can head back for this door, get inside here, light a fire, and all be warm. No, I can't, because I haven't got any tinder. And again, I didn't think that I can convert. I keep forgetting that you can now harvest sticks into tinder. I keep forgetting that you can do that. In fact, I'm sure you can do that. I'm pretty sure you can do that. I keep forgetting that you can. So, I keep ending up in this situation where I have run out of tinder and I can't light a fire. In fact, I haven't actually been in here, so we're doing a bit of raiding as well at the same time. Keep forgetting that I can't. I could actually harvest a stick and make a fire. I completely forget to do it. Yeah. That's the moment of realisation. Well, we have been slightly above freezing for a little while, which have dropped our hypothermia risk a little bit, which just gives me a little bit of a chance to get back across to the town site. If you can actually look at your hypothermia risk if you go into the medical menu from the wheel. You can look at what your hypothermia risk percentage actually is. And obviously, the higher that percentage, the higher a risk you have. In fact, I might even do that in a moment. Yep, there we go. So I have a 19% chance of hypothermia at the moment. So it's not too high, but it's I don't know how quick it increases. But the temperature in this hut has dropped below freezing now, so it's no longer any benefit to staying where I am. I also realised I hadn't brought my bedroll with me, so I couldn't even get into that to try and get me out of that situation. So I had no choice but to head out of the hut and run back to the gas station and hope that the walls weren't there. So we're heading back towards the gas station. Rapidly heading back towards the gas station. And hopefully there's no wolves. You're going to have to excuse any rattling or anything you can hear in the background, because my house is now home to 3 hamsters. It's gone up from 1 to 3. I've adopted 2 that could no longer be cared for in their existing home, so they've moved in here. So I now have 3 of them. 2 of them are in here with me, and they've just started making a bit of a noise and staring at me from the other side of the room. It's quite freaky, actually. Okay, so we've made it back into the garage. No wolves around, so we're all good. Now, at this point, I wasn't sure whether this deer meat would actually count, because it's raw. So I didn't know whether I had to cook it, or whether I could just put it down raw and it would count. I really wasn't sure. I believe, as I have now done a little bit of checking, it does actually count if it's raw. So in hindsight, if I'd have just dropped it all at this point, it probably would have tipped over the mark and ticked over the food. As it is, I felt I had to cook it, and obviously that meant I ended up having to eat some of it to get my calories back up again. So, yes. Again, it's odd doing post-commentary, because you can look back at it with hindsight and think, actually, I didn't quite do that right. If I'd have done it slightly differently, we'd have ended a bit shorter, a bit earlier, but never mind. And again, I'm struggling to light fires. And I think I got a bit fed up at this point, just use the accelerant and get the thing lit. There we go. Okay, so I think I added a fair chunk of fuel and we just ended up cooking up all of this venison, which I don't think you have to do. From the little bit of checking that I've done, I don't think you actually have to do that. But never mind. It's, again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. So we are getting very, very close now. We're cooking up this meat. We're very, very close to hitting our marker. But I know I've been hinting slightly here because I know what happens next. We don't quite get there. We're a little tiny bit short. And it is primarily because I ended up having to eat some of this stuff before I dropped it, if my memory serves. Plus, I don't know if the calorie value drops slightly when you cook the meat. I'm not sure, it might do. Yes, I've got one here that didn't actually cook because the fire ran out. And I think what I end up doing, I'm trying to remember here. I mean, it could well be it wouldn't have tipped us over. You never know. I mean, we've got lots of food stockpiles. Every single drawer is practically full. Getting rid of all of the cooked stuff. Yeah, I think what probably happens here is because I'm not 100% sure, I end up not dropping it all. I honestly can't remember. I think I ended up eating one of them. No, we're a little bit short. We've lost a bit of tinder as well now. But that's not a problem. So we can make some more with these new papers we've got. But yes, we're still a little bit short. I've got 2 that I'm carrying with me. If I'd have dropped those, you never know. We might have tipped over. But Muggins here did not think to do that. So I didn't. It is incredible, actually. Again, when you're watching these things back, something that you look at now and think, what on earth did you do that for, you idiots? At the time, you just don't think of it. It's quite strange. But yeah, the situation we're in at the end then is that we have almost got enough food. We have enough tinder now because we've just made some more. Just to tip us back over the line again. We have almost got enough food. We're literally a day and a half short. And we have a piece of uncooked there. And we are so close. So close. So frustrating that we are this close and haven't quite crossed the line. But that is the situation we find ourselves in. So we're going to tick over into another video, folks. That will be video number Unlucky 13, where hopefully we will complete the series. Well, okay, I've been hinting we kind of do. But I am going to say right now, because I have no idea how long it's going to be before the outro kicks in, thank you very much for watching. Sorry about the audio mistakes, and I shall see you again very soon for video number 13. Very significant number. See you again soon.